Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of A Spoonful of Species, your go-to place for conservation through baking. My name is Caitlin and this week we are making a turkey-themed Swiss roll. Turkeys are a well-known food source in North America, and every year on Thanksgiving, 46 million turkeys get eaten. Now, we may eat a lot of turkeys, but a lot of people don't know much about their species, and that's sad because they're fascinating animals. First, turkeys are wild looking. On the tops of their heads, they have this drooping skin kind of all over, and they're very bald looking. So those skin folds are actually useful to them. So one is on the front of their heads, and maybe you've seen it, it droops down to the side of their face, and it is called a snood. Now snoods are used whenever a turkey is excited or sees a mate that they might want to greet. The snood kind of droops down or can become kind of like stiff and elongated, which is both hilarious and awesome. Another part of the turkey that you might be more well acquainted with is called the waddle. Now the waddle is actually useful for thermal regulation or temperature control. So on really warm days, they will expand their waddle, and it helps release excess heat to their bodies because they can't sweat like you or I can. The waddle is also useful as a mate attraction or to alert other turkeys, or maybe just to constrict whenever they're afraid, and it will turn bright blue, which is beautiful and also is a good alert system to let the predator know that they've been seen.
For your decorative dough, you'll need 1 egg white, 1/3 cup of flour, 2 tablespoons of sugar, 2 tablespoons of melted butter, and the food coloring of your choice. For your decorative dough, whisk ingredients together, separate, color, and put into piping bags. Grease your parchment paper with a small amount of butter and decorate your parchment paper as you like. I drew a turkey on the back side of my parchment paper. You can even put words, but be aware that it will come out backwards on your cake, so make sure you write it backwards on the paper. Freeze your dough for about 15 minutes once you put it on the parchment paper. Then you're going to pour your cake dough over the top of the paste and bake for about 10 to 15 minutes on 350 degrees Fahrenheit.
Turkeys are also extremely fast, which is surprising since they can weigh up to 22 pounds, but they can run at speeds of up to 25 miles an hour and can fly at speeds up to 55 miles an hour. That is incredibly fast for a bird.
For your Swiss roll dough, you will need 3/4 cup of flour, 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of ginger, 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg, 1/4 teaspoon of allspice, 1/4 teaspoon of cloves, 1 teaspoon of salt, 3 eggs, 1 cup of sugar, 2/3 cup of pumpkin puree, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. To make your Swiss roll dough, mix the dry ingredients except for the sugar together in a bowl. In the mixer, mix eggs and sugar, and then whisk in pumpkin and vanilla until smooth. Slowly add your dry ingredients to your wet until smooth. Pour onto frozen baking sheet and smooth out the edges. Bake at 350 degrees for 10 to 15 minutes. And when warm, roll and unroll the cake in both directions, leaving the parchment paper on. For your ganache, you'll need equal parts heavy whipping cream and chocolate of your choice.
Today, wild turkey populations are actually doing very well, with 6 to 7 million individuals alive in North America alone. However, this was not always the case. Back in the early 1900s, wild turkey populations were down to less than 30,000 individuals. To put that in perspective, there are more polar bears alive right now than there were turkeys in the early 1900s. Conservationists like our very own Theodore Roosevelt stepped up and made natural protected areas, conservation programs, repopulation programs, and game laws that help protect these wild animals from extinction. Today, those conservation programs are still in effect and have been improved over time, but with habitat loss and global climate change, their habitats and the wild turkey populations are always at risk. So if you'd like to get involved with a wild turkey conservation program or just habitat improvement wherever you are, go to the National Wild Turkey Federation at nwtf.org to learn more and get involved wherever you are.